So in this video, we're going to talk about how insurance companies go about trying to limit moral hazard in insurance markets. So the extent of the moral hazard, as we saw in the last video, depends on how sensitive demand is to price and the amount of price distortion that's being caused by the insurance. They can't really alter the consumer's price sensitivity, which is a property of their own demand functions, but they do have ways to reduce the price distortion due to insurance. And so that's why they implement things like coinsurance, co-pays, deductibles, and they have like programs where they monitor people's health. So coinsurance and co-pays, these are examples of cost sharing. You might have some of these in your own health insurance policies. There are two insurance contract provisions that maintain positive marginal costs for the insured, meaning that the additional episode of healthcare costs greater than zero, like some non-zero positive amount. These plans limit insurance coverage so that they are no longer full insurance. So co-insurance, it just means that you pay a percentage of your bill, and a co-pay is like a dollar amount that you have to pay a fixed amount every time you go in for let's say a specialist or a primary care provider. So with cost sharing, I'm going to move myself a little bit out of the way. With full insurance, in the graph on the left, you have really no price change. Regardless of what the quantity of care is that you consume, the price is the same thing. It's basically just whatever is your insurance premium. So the marginal cost of care falls to zero. Whereas without insurance, you face the full demand curve and the full marginal price of care. Now with a copay, it's kind of just cut off right in between. As opposed to facing PU, you face the lower cost of PC. And the quantity of care that you consume is in between QU and QA at QB. Deductibles are another kind of tool that insurers can use. They set kind of like it's where you have to pay the full price up until a certain amount. Let's say you have a $1,000 deductible. You pay the first $1,000 of healthcare expenditures out of pocket directly to whoever it is that you see or the pharmacy or something. Then the insurance policy kicks in after that $1,000. So here's what the deductible looks like in a graph. So on the y-axis, it's dollars, like out-of-pocket dollar expenses. And on the x-axis, it's your net healthcare expenses. Below the deductible, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. The slope is 1 here. Up until you hit your deductible of omega. In that last example, omega would equal 1,000. But so omega is the deductible. Past the deductible, and then co-insurance region, this policy has a co-insurance rate levied, you pay 33% of the marginal cost. So the price is 33% of whatever is the marginal price. The slope here is 0.33. Once you hit your out-of-pocket maximum at psi, now the out-of-pocket expenses are flat. The slope of that section equals 0. Some insurance companies, so the final example of ways that insurance companies try to limit moral hazard is monitoring. So they have things like employee incentive programs where if you go see a nutritionist, they'll reduce your bill. Or if you do yoga or get a fitness test, they keep track of those things and might reduce your premiums or something. So those are ways that they try to limit moral hazard through monitoring people's behaviors. And also through things like gatekeeping, where you have to go see a primary care physician and then that person has to refer you to a specialist. It's a way of limiting moral hazard where an individual ex post moral hazard, where an individual might say, I'd rather just go see the internist, but really perhaps a primary care physician could have covered it.